name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo.
Hello, welcome to that 90s Wrestling Podcast. Today's special guest, apparently if you say his name, he will appear. The one and only, the prestigious one, Mr. Joe Hendry. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing very well. I like that intro. You said the name. Here I am.
That's right. He, for 4-year-old, he's just gone to sleep now, but he absolutely loves the song. He was hoping to stay up to talk to you.
I feel terrible now. We had a little delay there. Do you want me to say hello now?
Oh, so if you want to say hello to
Go
Sam,
for it.
Well, I'll give Sammy. Come here, quick. This is his first time on the show, by the way, only for you.
Oh, appreciate it.
All right, let's come here, quick. All right, you know what to say. There you go. Come here, quick.
Is this Sammy?
Yeah,
Hello, Sammy. How are you?
good.
I love those jammies, Sonic jammies. I need to get myself a pair of those. Those are. I'm a big Sonic fan myself. What's your favorite Sonic game?
You can say you like his song.
I like your song.
What's that?
I like your song.
Oh, you like my song? You like my song? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You go to bed now, yeah?
Good night.
See ya.
That's his first cameo on the podcast. So yeah,
There you go. I tell you what, those are some cracking Sonic jammies. I need to get myself some more Sonic merch.
Oh, my kids are mad on Sonic and Super Mario. They just love it. And when the Sonic movie came out, they was just all over it.
That's it. Game over. Sega, Nintendo, they know what they're doing.
Cool. So I suppose talking about childhoods, we'll get into yours. I would imagine you was a fan of wrestling growing up.
Actually, no. Believe it or not. I didn't get... So as a kid, no, because I didn't have Sky. So I didn't get to see it. The only time that I got a glimpse of it was when when Cartoon Network would change into... You probably know what I'm going to say, don't you? When Cartoon Network would change into what was the channel called again? You need to help me out here.
Was it TNT?
Yeah, TNT. That was it, yeah.
Wasn't it?
And it was like at the time that was before the internet. So when you see Cartoon Network turn into TNT, you're like, "What is this? This is they've taken over the channel," you know. Yeah. So, and I remember very little about seeing wrestling as a kid. The only thing that I can remember was hating Ric Flair. Ric Flair as a kid. So he was obviously good at his job because Ric Flair is, you know, in my top 3 wrestlers ever. Ric Flair is one of my favorites, taking huge influence from him, but he was that good at his job that he made a non-fan hate him when he was a bad guy. So I was very impressed. I got into wrestling about sort of 13, 14. I started getting interested, and then by 15 it was just, you know, eat, sleep and breathe pro wrestling, and never changed since.
Awesome. And I think I got this right, Joe. I've been watching some of the interviews you've done previous, and before you started your training, you was a musician, was that right?
Yeah, that's true. So I started music again when I was 15. I'm starting to realize this 15 was a formative year for me. So I started doing music at the age of 15. I was a musician. That was kind of my main thing until I turning 25. You know, I love music, and I was working on music tonight. I love it. It's still a big part of my life, but wrestling was really the main passion. I just didn't really have the balls to do it. And then when I was about to turn 25, I was like, right, okay, if I'm going to do it, it's going to have to be now. So then I just kind of, you know, made it my life, and here we are. Yeah.
And some of your trainers training like some of the big guns, Brookside, Killian Dane, or Big Damo as we call him. What was it like training underneath these guys?
Oh, it was, I mean, it's in one sense, it's like, it's ludicrous, the quality of the training that I got right at the start. You know, to give you an idea, when Robbie Brookside first came to the school, I think that was when he was just about signing with WWE, so he was able to finish up doing this training stuff. So I got across 2 separate weeks, but I got 2 full-time weeks, and I'm talking Monday to Sunday from, you know, like midday to like 10 p.m. on all those days. So if you think about it, a regular training session is maybe like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours max, something like that. Whereas I was getting, 10 hours with Robbie
Yeah.
Brookside every day, and there was only, you know, like 3-4 other people in the class sometimes. Sometimes it was really busy, but not all the time. So I
Right.
feel like I got a real, and also, the other coaches were at Source as well were a huge part of that as well. They really, not only, they prepared me for not only the physical aspects of the business, but the mental aspects of the business. And I feel like Marty Jones helped me put a sort of British spin on the stuff I was doing. He taught me like how to do his palm strike and stuff like that. So there are little things that I got from Marty as well. That's why I always kind of cite him as one of my 4 main coaches.
Cool. And before we get to ICW, I noticed you had a couple of guest spots in WWE. One time as a Roseblood, and the other time as a Russian diplomat. So how did that come about?
Well, I've actually been a Rosebud 7 times, believe it or not.
7 times.
7
right?
times, yeah. So it was on a Raw, a SmackDown, and 5 live tour dates actually. So and one of them we carried Vicky Guerrero around the ring, and she was really cool. What else? So with the Rusev thing, that was nuts. I've told this story before, but I think someone else was kind of supposed to be doing that job, and they'd come in and they'd like shaved their head for it and all that. And so someone said to me, "Oh, bring your red tie tomorrow." And I think they told the wrong person, so I brought a red tie. And then they asked, "Oh, where are my Russians at?" And I thought, "Oh, well, he must mean." He said something like, "Have the Russians got their red ties? Where are my Russians at?" And I was like, "Oh, that must be me then." So I put my hand up. And they brought me down to the ring, and they got a bunch of us to read out to do a promo like in that voice, and I did it. And I didn't know this, but Vince McMahon was watching, and he was like, I want that guy to do it. So that's how that happened. So it's pretty cool, I guess, indirectly. Well, through a producer, I guess I've cut a promo and received critique from Vince McMahon. So there you go.
Awesome. And he's done ICW, and one of your first feuds, you could say, was with Big Damo, and obviously Killian Dane, like a lot of WWE fans know him these days. What's it like working Damo? I mean, he's one of the best.
Yeah, I think with Damo, the great thing about training under Damo, again, he was one of my 4 coaches, and the thing about Damo that was great was he helped me prepare for the psychological side of the business. So he would kind of, give me the real scoop on what was going on, and I think Damo's style was the perfect person for me to be working with at that time, because a lot in when you're starting, if there's 50 super kicks and 20 dives and all that, it's like it can be quite overwhelming for someone new in the business. Whereas Damo's style, he's a powerhouse, a brawler, that sort of thing, and it just working with him, it really allowed me to focus on doing my best rather than trying to think like, oh, what am I going to do next? So it was good to have a familiar face in there with you, for sure.
Cool. One of the companies, like, you seem to have had a fun time with, unfortunately, it's gone by the wayside. WhatCulture Pro Wrestling, or Divine Wrestling, it eventually became. And I mean, I suppose one of the matches that put you on the map was your match against Kurt Angle. So, what was it like being part of that organization, but also wrestling one of the greatest of all time?
I mean, WhatCulture was just, I think I've been very lucky in that I've been able to be a part of almost like a movement in wrestling on a kind of an indie level, but to be part of, I had that with ICW, and then I had that again. So it's almost like, they say, you can't capture lightning in a bottle, or lightning doesn't strike twice. Well, I felt like it did for me, because, I had ICW, and then I just felt like even, no matter how over I got with the entrances and stuff like that, I felt like there was a ceiling for me in ICW. So I felt, and life's just like that. Sometimes you've got to move around to move up. So I really believed that I could be a main eventer. And it was down to me to prove that, so that's why I kind of focused on, in 2016, I went and did a Ring of Honor tryout. That's how I opened the door there for myself. And also that's when I started working with WhatCulture. And I offered to go down and do promos. I was never supposed to be in the main event. But because they needed to build a story, they were like, well, I guess Hendry's here. Rampage is here. We've got stuff from Damo as well. He was there. So let's build that initial main event scene around there. And it was a real sink or swim. situation for me, and I did some swimming and I did some sinking, but thankfully, the thing with the Kurt match was nuts because Kurt and I had spoke on DM, and he was just the greatest. He reached out because a fan asked me who my dream match was, and I said him, and he actually reached out and said, basically, if you work hard, you can make these things happen. And I was like, wow. And he was like, I know who you are. You're not ready for it yet, but just keep doing what you're doing. And then WhatCulture tried to book him, and he said no. And then I actually contacted Kurt and says, I think I could find a financier to wrestle each other if you'd be up for it. And he was like, all right, here's what we need. Here's when it would need to be, da da da. And then I went back to WhatCulture and I says, listen, I know you tried to book Kurt Angle. If I bring him in, I need to wrestle him, and I need your word on that. And they were like, yeah, all right. So I kind of got the ball rolling. That's the boldest thing I've ever done in wrestling. Wow. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes, like I say, that opportunity, if I hadn't have said to Kurt, taking that chance and gone, if I got a financier, would you be up for this? It's without that conversation, it never would have happened. It's like that butterfly effect thing. You have to be bold at certain times. You have to pick your spots, but when you've earned favor, I've learned over time. When you're new in a company, you have to establish yourself. You can't use that in it right off the bat. You have to gain some favor and then go in with the big idea or the big pitch once you've established yourself and you've proven yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one of the big guys, your fellow countryman, you thought was in WhatCulture was the current WWE champion, Drew Galloway. Drew McIntyre, but he'll always be Drew Galloway to us. Yeah. What's it like wrestling him and also seeing the success he's having at the minute?
The way I say it is Drew was our Undertaker. So when people talk about the Undertaker being a locker room leader, the example, Drew was that. He was a class act in and out of the ring. There was no better representative for British wrestling. And it was better when he was here. It wasn't the same when he left. He lifted that entire scene. And the thing about Drew is he can have match of the night. He can have an amazing match with anybody. At the time, I was very inexperienced. When I started wrestling Drew, I'd only really been on shows for 2.5 years. So me and Drew started working together, I think in 2016. In WhatCulture, and I started training in 2013, and I debuted right at the end of 2013. So I really only had 2 years show experience, and Drew was able to not bring me up to his level, but he was able to bring me up a level or two to be able to hang with him, and that was all him that was doing that. But there's some people you work with and you just get better, and I think Kurt and Drew are the two big ones. But the thing about Drew is he can have a great match with anyone, from Will Ospreay to Goldberg, anyone.
Yeah, cool. And one of the things you went on to do as well was Impact Wrestling, using there for about a year, and working the great program with Grado and Katarina, which I love.
It's funny you mentioned that. I'm just going to say, it's funny how perception becomes reality, because actually I was only with Impact from, I think, July to September.
Wow,
is when so it was 3 months, and it was like 4 shows, maybe something like that. Right. And I just didn't have a visa. So, and I just got to a point where I felt like, I didn't know how long it was going to be to get that. I was just in a spot where I was like, you know what? I feel I really liked working, at Impact. It was a lot of fun. I really liked, I thought, management there were cool, but I just felt like I could contribute on a higher level, and that's why I was like, I need to just, it's just that's how it is. It's the same thing as ICW. I just felt like I feel like I can do more. So that's why I thought I'm going to become a free agent. I'm going to get in the best shape I can get in, and then I really did change my physique, and then that's when I went to Ring of Honor. Once I took 6 months away to just get in the best shape I could, improve my wrestling as much as I could, just make myself as much of an asset as possible. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed working with Grado. Katarina was fantastic. She was such a pro. Like, some people with the entrances, they don't get it. They're crybabies about it, and there were a few. across the years. But Katarina got it. You know what I mean? She knew what that spot was. She knew what the fans wanted to see, and she actually thanked me for making a song about her. Whereas most people, a lot of people are like, "What?" Where she knew that was going to help get the segment over. So that was a lot of fun. But it's interesting how a lot of the fans sometimes think, "Oh, Joe kind of failed in Impact," and it's like, "I was there for 3 shows." You know what I mean? It's like, you're kind of good. So it's interesting how perception becomes reality. But yeah, I was only able to wrestle for them in Canada and Mexico because I didn't have a visa. So that's why I was only there for like 3, maybe 4 months max. And then after that, I was running their Twitch channel for a while, and that's when we parted ways.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because the angle is so embedded into my brain.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that. That makes me feel good.
It felt like I loved it, and like the end of you, basically rejecting them. You're like, no, I'm keeping with Grado. I absolutely loved it.
Do you know what's funny? I felt bad because Paul Burchill, believe it or not, was one of my favorite wrestlers when I first started getting into wrestling because I discovered FWA and I was like, who is this guy? Yeah. And I felt bad throwing him under the bus in one of those videos for Katarina, but it had to be done. It was a laugh.
Cool. And before you made your way back to Ring of Honor, World of Sport, and you've done a few shows there. So obviously, I don't know what the situation with it is. I can't imagine it's coming back. But what was your time like during there?
Oh, I mean, much like Impact, it was a lot of fun. It was the thing about World of Sport was, I think pretty much everyone was, I probably shouldn't say that, but like I was gonna basically, let's put it this way: it's because it was like a TV production. It was like from a different perspective. So basically, there really wasn't like a distinction of, okay, so you're a top talent, you're a mid card, you're an undercard. It was like no matter what spot you had on the show, we were all valuable, and it was just an interesting way to produce wrestling as strictly as like ITV TV. Yeah. It was a very different feel. Product wise, I kind of, my personal preference is, I prefer what I'm doing in Ring of Honor for sure. Like I feel like that for me, it has it gives me that ability to have a creative edge and be creative in the way that I want to. Whereas like ITV was kind of, you knew what the job was. It was like Saturday night telly. It was, it's a show, right? But it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about TV. I got to, go on Dermot O'Leary's show, and to promote it, I went on This Morning. It's like I really had a lot of fun with being on TV and radio promoting that. I felt like we were, I feel like we were treated pretty well. And I don't know what will happen with it. If it comes back, that means there's more jobs for people here in the UK who aren't signed. So I would love there to be more wrestling opportunities for people. But World of Sport was a great learning experience for me, and it was a lot of fun. Those tours were just, honestly, some of those live shows that we did, the one in Blackpool was just bouncing. Like, honestly, like it was rammed. And we knew there and then, we knew if this gets picked up, this is going to become huge, because the shows were just packed, and I mean packed. So it was very interesting because really ICW, WhatCulture, like it's they're very much like sort of more adult or like teenage products, whereas like World of Sport was a kids product. So I got a chance to see what it was like to, on a smaller scale, but to do what big stars in the business have done by doing like the appearances and the signings and stuff. And that's like, it was actually a great experience for me going into Ring of Honor, because what I found about Ring of Honor is it's a straight mix. So it's like there's older fans, there's teenagers, there's kids, there's all that. And before the pandemic, we did, honestly, like Ring of Honor did hospital visits before every show, pretty much every show. And I don't, I love, like Ring of Honor, I feel like they do a lot of good work in the community as well. We went out to schools, like, we went out and played basketball with a bunch of kids at this after school club once. Just Ring of Honor just sends their people out to do that. Obviously we can't do it because of the pandemic, but that really became a fun part of the job. You felt like we were going into these schools And we were going in and they just asked us to speak to the kids for an hour. And it'd be like, all right, let's do it. And you talk to the kids about goal achievement. And you think, God, I'm making a difference here. And I think World of Sport sort of prepared me for that side of things. But yeah.
Awesome. And speaking of Ring of Honor, and I spoke to your former rival, Shane Taylor, and we have to bring up the match at the York Hall for the TV title. And me and Shane spoke about it. He said how much he loved that show, and the fans is like, F you, Shane, F you, Shane. He said, I never had such a better time. So what was it like on your side working that match?
It's so weird. Like, me and Shane just seem to have this chemistry where it's like, I remember we first wrestled each other, and I think it was in Chicago when we first wrestled each other, and we came away from the match thinking, it wasn't the best. You know, we're thinking, it wasn't as good as it could have been or whatever. But then we started to look online and people started to talk positively about it. And we're like, huh. And then it happened more and more and more. And then we were like, oh, maybe we've got something here. And then you rewatch it and you go, oh yeah, I don't know what we were thinking that wasn't, as good as it could have been. And then so I think maybe because of that, we got the title match in London, and something just clicked that night. Something just clicked that night. That was quite a moment. It was really fun. It was really, really fun. And it's a big challenge. Shane's he's a force to be reckoned with. He's a big athlete as well. So to power him up for the follow-away driver, that took some strength, but the audience lifted me up to do it. But yeah, I think that's probably my best performance in Ring of Honor, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's among that. It's such a good match.
The thing is, like, here's the thing. I can't be there right now, right? I can't be there in Ring of Honor. So right now, I don't see myself as an active wrestler at the second because I can't wrestle right now. So what I'm doing right now is I'm an analyst for Ring of Honor. I do Technique Tuesdays. Every week we break down the show. So I guess what I'm saying is when I become a wrestler again, I've got no problem slapping Shane in the face, punching him in the face, kicking him in the face, whatever needs to happen, because he'll return the favor. But while I'm not able to wrestle, I will give credit where credit's due. And I really do. I have really been enjoying watching the ascension of Shane Taylor's career, because he has just unapologetically been himself, and that authenticity makes people it gravitate towards you. And I've watched this process. Obviously he's had a long career, but really I think he's just, everything is clicking for him. He's going down this path, and people are just getting behind him and his vision and his message. And it really feels like this is his time. So I'm very excited to see what happens with him and Rush. But hey, don't get me wrong, that's enough putting Shane over. The moment I'm active and I can get back over there, I'll be gunning for whatever title he's holding or opportunity he's got. But for now, credit to Shane Taylor.
Yeah, and unfortunately, COVID did put a stop to things. But before it did, like your tag work with Dalton Castle, who's one of my favorites. How much fun did you have, like tagging with Dalton?
Yeah, thanks, James. I appreciate that. It's the cool thing about working with Dalton is we have opposite ways of looking at things. The complete opposite. So I'll give you an example. So we did there was a scene where me and him are sitting on the couch and we just start laughing without saying any words. We just start laughing. And, I've just always looked at comedy in one way and he's looked at it in another. So the cool thing was, like, so we're doing this thing where we're just laughing at each other. It was actually inspired by a Tenacious D scene from their HBO series where they're sitting on the couch. Have you seen it before? Yeah. They're congratulating themselves after the gig and they're like, we rocked. We did that thing. But by the end of it, it's actually genuine laughter for me, because I know he's going to do something to make me laugh. And is this audio or video, by the way?
Both.
Okay, so I'll do it for the people watching. But like, I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? He's like, I'll think of something. And I'm just like, all right. So we start. And then he just goes, hey, check this out. And he goes, that was it. That was it. But that to me was funnier than anything that would have been over the top. So I just start losing it and I'm laughing for real. And then he's laughing in my face and we're laughing back and forth. And it was very genuine. So he will catch me off guard with things that, I just would never have thought of. So I think, we have very different types of charisma. Yeah. And I think they complement each other well. And it's just sad because I think at the start, we were very set on doing our own thing, you know, and it was like we were two singles wrestlers and we were teaming out of necessity, right? But then I think as we got to know each other a little better and we started working together, we really started to get into a groove, and we started to find out where we slotted in the various matches. Like, you know, well, I know now Dalton's going to do this bit. I'm going to come in. I'm going to hit the double fall away. I'm going to do this bit. So we started to get into a real groove. And when COVID came along, it was the night we were supposed to wrestle the Briscoes, and we'd been picking up some wins, picking up some steam. We had some really good performances up until that. And I thought to myself, I was like, I feel like tonight's the night. Tonight is the night we're going to legitimize ourselves in the tag team division. This is going to lift their career to another level. And then COVID hit that day. And it was just that day. It was rough. It was rough.
What, I don't know if you know, Joe, I don't know if you're, you know, privileged to say, what's Stoughton's contract stats at the minute? Is he re-signed or is he free agent? Because I'm hearing mixed reports. So what is the status, do you know?
To be honest with you, I would never speak on about someone else's business. So I would leave that answer to him if you get the chance to interview him.
No problem.
But whatever, you know, Dalton's a great guy. Like, he is a great guy. He's a great human being. And I want nothing but good things for him. And, you know, I hope that, like, put it this way, I feel like, you know, it would be sad if he wasn't in Ring of Honor, because I feel like it's like you put so much into something, and it's like, at least if you know, I can't be there right now, but if I could, it's like, it's so, you know, you could have that finality to whatever we were doing, or we could tell that story that we wanted to tell. But sometimes, you know, it's the business is what it is, and it's, you know, it's like I say, it's that thing Stone Cold says, it's the business is a machine and you're a cog in that machine, and right now this cog is stuck in Scotland, you know. So it's, you can't expect Dalton to make career decisions based on me being over here at the moment. So I'll respect and support whatever he wants to do, but I genuinely think it would be I would love for him to stay in Ring of Honor, but that is, you know, I actually genuinely I'm not privy to information, and to be honest with you, I don't want to, because that's his decision. I'll respect whatever he does.
Awesome. And we're coming to the end, Joe, but a couple of questions, and they always get asked. So we're not a PG show. You can say whatever you want. So the two questions is, what's your favorite rib you've seen or been part of?
Favorite rib. So, so I'll tell you one. It's so funny. So we're on the bus for Fight Forever Promotions, and I'm fast asleep with my mouth open, right? Now, I'm just going to preface this. I do not smoke, right? I do not smoke. So this makes no sense, right? I don't smoke anything, right? So we're on the bus, and so I'm not going to name who, because they're on television a lot. Someone makes a, you know, let's just say a cigarette looking device and puts it in my mouth, right? And I'm fast asleep, and I just, like, in my sleep start smoking this kind of fake cigarette that they've rolled up, and someone's filming me, and it's literally just me fast asleep with this kind of, you know, this roll up, like, on my lip, and I'm kind of like trying to, like, I don't know if I'm trying to eat it or trying to, and they're just filming, making an absolute fool of myself, drool's going everywhere, everybody's laughing, like, and it was so people so they made memes of it, and it's the one where the shades come in, and it's you know, that Dr. Dre song is playing and all that. People made remixes of it, so it was highly embarrassing, but it was extremely funny. So
awesome.
Yeah, so I'd say that was probably the best rib. That was one of the best ribs that was ever played on me. That was very funny. That's when ribs are funny. When they're funny, they're funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awesome. I was going to say, what was your favorite road story as well, but I suppose that kind of answers it as well, unless you've got another one you can think of.
Let me think of that. See, this is tough when you're on the spot. I'm sure there's so many that I could think of. I mean, I'll remember. I just remember we were wrestling at NGW, and I won't say who it was, but actually this is a fond memory I've got of Lionheart, actually. So me and him were, I think, tag champs at the time in NGW, and at the start of the match, He's we've done the Irish whip, so he's whipped, or it's something like that. For some reason, our opponents were running to separate ropes. I was to turn around and face one. He was going to turn around and face the other one. And my opponent went to hit the ropes, and he just went right through them. And it was like, so I was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So me and him are just creasing, like can't continue with the match. It's like, it wasn't, and the reason it was funny, it was just visually very funny. Like for me, it's like when someone is visually there and half a second later they're not there. That's just very funny to me. It wasn't like a oh, and there they go. It was like bye. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip. It's from WWF back in like '96 or something, and someone goes for like someone jumps, and I think they try and catch the ropes, but they just go straight through it, like just like a basketball through the hoop. I wish I could remember the clip, but it was just like that. Someone went to hit the ropes. I'm expecting to hit a move when they come back, or they're going to attack me or whatever. I think they were going to hit something really cool, like they were going to do a Hurricane Rana or something like that. The crowd's ready for it. Hits the ropes. He's disappeared. He's just gone through a portal. So that was, probably not doing it justice. It was pretty funny. I'll try and think if I've got any others. I mean, there's bound to be so many. I mean, there's I need to come back to you on that one. Do you know what? I'll need to prepare a few road stories, because that's a question I should have some answers to.
Oh, it's okay. I spoke to Doug Williams, and he managed to think of one. He's like, I've got so many, James, but on the spot I can't think of them. But he said next time we do another one, he said I'll definitely get all these stories ready for you.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Joe. But before we leave, where can everyone find you on social media?
So for me, it's on Twitter, it's at Joe Hendry, Instagram at Joe Hendry as well. And I guess the main thing to look out for me just now is I've got this show, Technique Tuesdays, that I do with Ring of Honor. It's on Tuesday, obviously. It's on the Ring of Honor YouTube channel. So go check that out. And it'd be really appreciated. We break down wrestling in a very scientific way. So if a move has its groundings and its foundations in judo or jiu-jitsu or freestyle wrestling, we kind of break that down in detail, and we talk about sometimes the physics of a wrestling move, why it's effective, or why you would do this grip instead of that grip. So if you're a real geek for wrestling like I am, I would recommend that show. Just Shop Honor as well. Go check. They've kind of redone the merch site. It looks awesome. But for anyone who wants to know more about the business and becoming a wrestler, I've got a podcast called Wrestling University with Dr. Tom Pritchard. So go check that out. We've got about 15 episodes or so far.
Awesome. So yeah, Joe, thanks very much, and hopefully, I mean, we're all in the same boat with COVID, but hopefully it passes over and get you back in the States, and start seeing you back on TV.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. All right. Cheers.
Thanks very much.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the interview. Hope you enjoyed it. Joining me next week, we have one of the unsung heroes from women's wrestling, former WWE Women's Champion, Candice Michelle. In this chat, we talk about her joining WWE, Diva Search Contest, her feud with Tori Wilson, and her segments with Vince McMahon, and her becoming champ, and her unfortunate injury that led to her retirement. So thanks again for checking us out. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe on whichever platform you're listening to, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.